So I would talk about publication because I have to talk about it with confidence. Reason being, I was myself a researcher, myself publishing continuously without break. It was never once in a while. So that helps. And that helps so far as the acceptance is concerned and also development of the competent people is concerned. Those who have some degree of competence, they will start doing it. Those who do not have competence, they need to be given a helping hand. They need to be given time so that they can develop themselves and become competent in that. See, competence is simply having those set of skills, which one can always develop. If a person is not competent today, does not mean he is incompetent forever. That doesn't happen. If a person is not competent today in a certain sphere of work, he or she can develop competence if opportunity is given, if helping hand is given, if proper direction is given. And that's what I feel really helps. Next is provide opportunities for growth, self-direction and self-control to the subordinates or the colleagues or those who are working with you. It was demonstrated that on one hand merit, no compromise on merit. At the same time, those who qualified, you see at that time, say prestige, there were 8 faculty when I joined, only 8. Zero, nobody was PhD, not even single. But then over the period of time, those who completed doctorate and were eligible for the next level, they got it. So that is through demonstration. So they got the opportunity for growth. They could see themselves that we can grow. If we are here, we can grow. So whenever there was an opportunity in any of the IIM, that because prestige was only management, so any of the IIM, they were nominated, bearing all the expenses with proper academic leave and so on. So that would encourage people to see that what they are doing has a value. They are not doing just under pressure, they are not doing because they are told to do it, they are doing it because that is contributing to their own development. Development as people, as individuals, and development as professionals. So even at that time, right from the beginning, as I said, whether selection committee or otherwise, I started inviting the stalwarts of management at that time, those who were well known, big names of management at that time, most of them visited prestige. So that gave confidence to the people, yes, perhaps we are at the right place. So that confidence giving is very important. Next is optimum utilization of resources as inputs for desired outputs. You see, if I am just building an institution, I should utilize my resources to the extent I afford. What I cannot afford, I need not to talk about it. See, at that time, I could not afford to send a faculty to Harvard or Stanford or anything. So I would not talk about it. But at the same time, what I could afford, say I could afford to send them any of the established IIMs. ABC, as we were mentioning in the morning, ABC, and I would not miss the opportunity because I could afford that. So we need to have the optimum utilization of resources. That is always to be kept in mind. We cannot keep on spending in good faith maybe, but then even if it is in good faith, ultimately we have to maintain the bottom line. So that optimum utilization of resources is very important while we are building the institution. Yes, a time may come when we can spend more, but we have to see the situation, stage of development of the institution concerned. See, many times many startups fail today, or entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs fail, the business fails. there are failures. And if you see the research, in many cases it has been found they start investing in certain areas where they need not invest in those areas. For example, having a highly furnished office in a most lavish colony or say shopping complex, which becomes very expensive for that particular small organization at that time, will the result ultimately doesn't survive. So it depends upon the stage of the growth, the situation. Accordingly one can spend, so that utilization of resources is very important. So if I am building a small institution, naturally every institution begins as a small institution. So I have to see the realities of that time and utilize the resources accordingly. Next point, which is again very important, see these points are not in sequence. Many of them may go together, simultaneously. That is formalization of norms, again, which I have found is very important. Formalization of norms. That means no compromises with law. Law of land to be respected. Whatever is required, that is to be done first. So in prestige, again I am giving the example. As I said, it was functioning in a building which belonged to a printing press. Printing press was at the ground floor, and the institution was, the classes were around first and second. So one of my first decisions was to have our own premise, have our own building. Land was already there where we have prestige today, but nothing was there. So one of the first decisions was to start construction immediately and complete it at the earliest. So involvement was so high that every Friday, chairman, myself, architect and contractor would meet on the site, discuss if any changes were required to be made, if anything was to be done further, whether it was meeting my needs or not. All this was discussed every Friday without fail. But even then, it took about, the whole premise took about less than 2 years, 1.5 years we can say. But then chairman asked me, now you can use it, you can shift from press complex, which I said no. Because some work was still going on the top floor. I said no. Once I shift, I would not like to see any laborer around. Nobody should be here. So once you hand over the building, it should be all done finally. As I think Uday was talking about risk taking, yes. So you have to have the courage to say that. Otherwise, the chairman gets, okay, you go, we don't need you. Why shouldn't we use the infrastructure when we have built it? How does it matter even if we are laborer? They are not going to enter the class. But I said no. Students, when there are students and there are classes, nobody should be there. But then the chairman respected the word that I said, he respected what I said, and when everything was done, completely washed and building was neat and clean, no laborer around, then only building was handed over. Now see the trust building exercise. When we decided to shift, I had to receive a Commonwealth Fellowship and I had to go. Dates were fixed. So, what to do? So I chose my colleagues, 2 colleagues, as coordinators. I told them that you have to see to it that shifting, everything happens properly, smoothly, and there is no issue, no problem. So this was an exercise of building trust. So I trusted